take a look at the AFC North. The Steelers maintain a one-game lead over the Ravens, and all signs point to a pivotal Week 18 matchup in Pittsburgh, where the Ravens must win in the Steel City if they hope to remain kings of the North. So, Jeff, if Lamar Jackson and the Ravens get to the postseason, do they have a legitimate shot to win a Super Bowl?
First of all, I think it's a really big if. Like, we're really big if.
7-7.
Yeah, I don't. They just have not played well. Even the other day when they beat the Bengals, they're just not clean. And I don't know what's going on since Lamar came back from his injury. He hasn't really looked the same. Their offensive line hasn't played great. Their run game has been iffy. I don't see them making. It would have to look completely different than it has looked to this point. Like if they flip back to how the offense looked in the early part of the season, first few weeks, I would say absolutely. But that has not shown up, and so I'm skeptical.
Stephen A.
You should be skeptical, but in a strange roundabout way, there's no wrong answer here because I get where you're coming from, Jeff. Here's what I'm thinking. When has Lamar Jackson entered the postseason without expectation? Yeah. When has he entered it with us looking at the Baltimore Ravens and saying, I don't like what I'm seeing. They don't have enough, the way they've been playing. Think about this. You've got Andrews and Likely at the tight end spot. You've got Zay Flowers as a wideout. You've got King Henry as a running back. And Lamar Jackson's health has been compromised to some degree that even though he's getting better, he's still clearly not 100%. 1 minute they're giving up points, the next minute they're shutting out the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah. We don't know what the hell to expect from this team. That makes them a wild card. And because they're a wild card, that diminishes expectations. And Lamar Jackson, with diminished expectations in the postseason, is the equivalent of a star playing with house money. And I kind of like those chances. So again, I get where you're coming from. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I don't have a problem with anybody who thinks differently if they're fortunate enough to get into the playoffs, which right now seems unlikely.
All right, we'll leave it here because we've got Wemby and
I don't know what's got Joe Burrow down. Like, it sounds like it's possible there's something away from football that's going on in his life that's got. So I don't want to, you don't want to get speculative on things like that. Their no-show on Sunday was one of the most shocking things that happened, I think, this weekend. Just the idea, not that they would lose to Baltimore, but just they had something on the line still and just didn't go to the game. And that I think is very strange when you look at Joe Burrow and his history of competitiveness. Now, when the thing happens, the press conference happens last week, later in the week, you're trying to dig on this. You're being told by a lot of people like, no, it's being read wrong. He loves football. He loves to compete. There's just some stuff going on right now. So I think he's playing because it's his job and because he likes to play. But his words last week and then the performance Sunday certainly cut against that. And I understand why you're asking the question. I don't think he's at risk of unusual risk of injury by continuing to play, right? Like he's fully healed from his injury. So
well, but Dan, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I guess here's my thought process.
Yeah,
Joe Burrow, and you said it perfectly, needs to get right if it's real life or football. He needs to get right. Okay, so let's leave it at that. He is worsening his chances of getting right by risking the offseason being rehab instead of whatever else it could be.
So that just gets to that same old debate, right? Of should every quarterback whose team is eliminated not play anymore? Like at some point, you play because that's what you do. And I think he has come out and said that if he's healthy enough to play, he wants to play. And I think that's so. The Commanders shut down Jaden Daniels because they couldn't clear him for this week, and the doctors didn't think they were going to be able to clear him for next week, and then that only leaves one game. So he's been hurt 3 times this year and obviously not fully healthy. Burrow is fully healthy. Prior to the 2 interceptions in Buffalo last week, he looked like an unstoppable machine. Like he was awesome. So it's not as if it's been a while since we've seen him at his best. Something weird's going on, and I don't know what exactly that is. I obviously hope it's not anything serious and that he recovers from it because he is an awful lot of fun to watch. But Yeah, I think if he was at some sort of elevated injury risk because of an injury he was playing through, that would be different. But if he's fully healthy and cleared to play and it's not limiting him, then I think he's going to play.
Graz, does the Micah Parsons injury move the goalpost for Matt LaFleur in terms of what success should be for him this year going into what will be the final year of his contract?
I don't know that he was in trouble, but certainly this gives one more reason to kind of say, hey, he's done a lot with what he's got. So he's been to the playoffs every year but one, right? He's in his 7th year as head coach. So I don't think that the Packers are looking to upgrade that spot. They are under, new management to some extent. They have a new team president, Ed Policy, taking over from Mark Murphy, and I think, as often happens when there's a leadership change, not that Ed didn't come from outside the organization, like he's been there, but I think, when you're in a new position like that, you want to look at everything, and I think that's pretty much what the message was last offseason when he said he's not going to extend the GM and the coach, but certainly that's going to be addressed this offseason. So, no, I think Matt LaFleur is fine. I don't think the Packers look around and say, hey, we could do better than this. I think they look at the track record he's had, and of course, his role in bringing along Jordan Love, who I think is playing really well right now. I don't think they want to necessarily upset that apple cart either.
We're so used to seeing the Kansas City Chiefs be vying for the #1 seed this time of year. Now they're eliminated from the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes obviously out for the season with a knee injury. What did the Chiefs do next?
Yeah, this is very uncharted territory for this group. They have to. There's a lot of people I'm talking to around the league that kind of feel like it might turn out to be a good thing for the Chiefs that they're kind of forced into a reset, that they need to build it up differently around Patrick Mahomes than they have because they're just kind of asking way too much of him. So this will force them to do that and take a look. I mean, look, if Travis Kelce is going to be done, Chris Jones is getting older, the core of the team that was successful has to be rebooted to some extent. And obviously, this is a team that plays until the middle of February every year. So think about it, it's the middle of December. This is 2 extra months for them they're basically in the offseason now. That is an incredible amount of time that they don't usually have to spend on, okay, what do we do next? So what do their decision makers do when faced with an idea of hey, this is a more extensive project than we may have been, ready to admit when we're going to the Super Bowl every year. So I think obviously they'll address personnel-wise. They've invested in the offensive line, so they got to make sure that's right. They get everybody healthy and playing well. They probably got to build out a run game. There probably needs to be some adjustment offensively in terms of scheme and what they're going to do based on their personnel. And refresh on the defense. Trent McDuffie going to have there's a lot to do with that roster, but they need to figure out how to build it better around Patrick Mahomes, and they have, because I think they've been getting by with, experience and Mahomes magic.
Dan Graziano, line of the year, Asante Samuel III. I mean, he'll never top that. It's possible it was that.
you.